Hello, everybody. Joe Baggy Donuts here. Welcome back for another episode of Umineko. Last time, we heard Rosa's traumatic childhood tale of how she was accidentally involved in the unwitting death of another person, and how she ran away from not really a scene of a crime because nothing illegal happened. It was just if you consider like not reporting an accident a crime, which I'm pretty sure it is, like when someone dies. But it's not like manslaughter. It's like something else. I don't know, criminal negligence. Whatever. She didn't do anything super illegal, but now she's fucked up, and that kind of explains her a little bit, just a smidge, But the clock has struck midnight. Sacrifices must be chosen, and I have my nice cup of green tea because I got my new electric kettle, which has temperature control settings and a warming function, so that way my tea doesn't get cold halfway through the recording, and I always complain about like drinking cold room temperature coffee. Though I did learn last night when I was sitting around doing nothing, not recording, because I didn't record yesterday because it just didn't feel like it. That if I am just going to let it sit there on the warming function to actually take, like, the tea steeping tube out, otherwise, the tea's just going to sit in there for 2.5 hours, and it's going to be strong. Which, I prefer my tea to have, like, a kick to it, but it was, like, too much. Like, it was fine drinking it, but, like, when it was sitting in my gut, I don't know if it was just, like, the amount of, like, caffeine that seeped into it. It was just like, nope, this ain't it, Chief. But I survived, I persevered, and we will persevere through this story, and so will Battler until he overcomes the witches that aren't real. Moving on, that was a bad segue. Bump my mic. Let's turn it down my headset a little bit. In his dimly lit study, which was occasionally brightened by lightning, Kinzo kept mumbling to himself, laughing to himself. There was no lightning today, but it was pretty windy and raining pretty bad. My power went off for like a second, like 40 minutes ago. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, and it won't fuck up the recording. My PC didn't go off, but, like, my internet died and all the lights flashed, but I guess there was still enough power left in the capacitors that it fucking was able to just truck on right through that little gap. On the antique clock with an intricate design that was sitting on his desk, the two overlapping hands had begun to tilt to the right and separate from one another. The passage of time that had counted to 24 had returned to 0 and begun to start counting again. Do you have a 24-hour, like, analog clock? And by that, I mean, instead of a 12, that you gotta know it just loops over on itself before it starts again. Like, I know there are clocks that are, like, have 24 ticks on them, but that seems a little too rare to just have, sitting around.
23時59分までは確かに数えただろう。しかし、24時にたどり着くことはできたのだろうか。
Or did it just skip to 0000?
たどり着けず、再び0時に戻ったと考えれば、それはなんとも虚しいことよ。
It's all about perspective. No, is that not the same as a person's life? You live, aiming for a perfect 24, and in an instant you reach it, you return to 0. People may praise the departed, saying that they did reach 24, but that is absolutely not 24. It is nothing more than 0.
わしは違うぞ。わしは生きて24にたどり着く。そここそが黄金鏡。
Okay, sure, man.
ベアトリーチェの住処なのだから。
Kinzo had been fumbling around with some tarot cards for some time. It looked as though he was trying to divine his own luck, his own propensity for victory, and doing it over every time he didn't like the results. The most forbidden action in tarot reading is trying to predict the same thing twice. Yeah, I'm like pretty sure the whole point is that you get it once and you don't just reshuffle the cards. It is a desecration to the result of the fortune telling. It also desecrates the existence higher than humans, which delivers signs through the tarot cards. However, Kinzo knew. The reason the tarot cards shouldn't be used twice was that, since it was nothing more than a random number generator, it was natural that if you read them twice, a different result would appear. Therefore, reading twice was only forbidden to preserve the mystique of the tarot cards results. I mean, yeah. Very, very realist viewpoint for a fucking mage, but yeah. However, that didn't mean that Kinzo didn't take tarot reading seriously. Kinzo's interpretation of tarot reading was done in a completely different way. That was to repeat the reading over and over until he reached the result most favorable to him, without the slightest amount of compromise. It would depend on how he defined the result most favorable to him. But if he demanded the best result in a strict sense, it'd be the same as a simple roulette of luck, where he sought an big words. Arithmetic. I know like arithmetic for math, but I've never like seen it used as an adjective before. Arithmetic miracle. However, to Kinzo, made miracles of numbers the basis of his magical who made miracles of numbers the basis of his magical power, this could become very much like a magic ritual. In other words, until the results he desired appeared perfectly, he would repeat the tarot reading over and over, turning his labor, conviction, and the feelings of his heart into a prayer, so that when it reached heaven, the result would be sublimated. This was Kinzo's personal magical interpretation. Therefore, even though the tarot cards Kinzo used were exactly the same as the generally used tarot cards, the way they were used was completely different. Kinzo stopped his hand for a second. Seeing the result he expected wasn't showing up. On the contrary, many bad cards that shouldn't often appear were appearing repeatedly. What, you getting like a fuck ton of like upside down towers and like deaths and whatnot? And continuing to interfere with the miracle Kinzo wished for. What would Beatrice be? I don't know, Empress? But like upside down because she's fucking twisted? But my man's looking for that right side up lovers and he's oh, Beatrice! It seemed that Kinzo had taken some kind of sign from this abnormal course of events. But judging by the unlucky cards scattered all over the desk, it was difficult to imagine that the sign had been a good one. For a while, Kinzo closed his eyes tightly, pondering something. Is he just using like the standard set, or is he using the ones with like fucking swords and clubs and all that stuff? You know, the extra cards, the rings. I don't know how to use those ones. In front of the main entrance, Shannon was cooling her flushed face in the rigid air. She had thought that George's proposal would surely come sometime. It wasn't as if her heart had been unprepared, and she had nodded as an answer. Had she been reckless because of her youth? Should she have thought about her future more seriously? She found herself worrying that he might have thought of her as a cheap girl because of her immediate reply. Perhaps at least holding off until tomorrow morning would have given the impression of thinking more seriously? You're just thinking too hard. Now that she had already received the ring from George, she only kept fidgeting in embarrassment, thinking she should have done this, should have done that. As she did, she heard the sound of footsteps coming towards her, splashing through puddles. Shannon immediately chased away the emotions welling up inside her.
源氏様カノン君もすみませんすぐに戻らなくてその
She grew stiff, thinking that she would surely be scolded for spending too much time in her secret lover's meeting with George.
シャン、親方様が至急書斎へ来るようにとの仰せ。急ぐ。
Assemble the furniture!
はい一体何事なの
不吉な予感がするってさ自分の儀式を起こした
Picking up some bad vibes, man.
大田に気取られぬよう裏から入る。足音に気をつけ。
はい姉さん注意して姉さんは賑やかだから
Oh, you fucking heel stomper? My god, my sister's like that. You can hear her walking from across the fucking house. God forbid she's upstairs, otherwise the whole ceiling shakes. Shannon was especially good at hiding his presence. Like he was a cat. I walk really quietly too. Mainly because I've been working night shift for God knows how long, even when I was in the dorms, so I would walk quietly not to wake anyone up. Also, I walk on the balls of my feet. Like, the way I step is, like, different from most people, mainly because my shin splints were getting so bad, my doctor recommended that I go through, like, physical therapy and, like, literally relearn how to walk. Like he was a cat, he was able to suddenly be there without anyone noticing and leave in the same way. So even if he were to step in a puddle, the sound he would make would be far smaller than that of the rain hitting the puddles. And she also had that ability. Well, in the first place, that was how the servants were supposed to be, even going by the name of furniture. Just like how desks and closets go unnoticed by members of the family. The servants also treated being able to show up unobtrusively when they needed to as their greatest virtue. In that sense, Shannon's footsteps still strongly asserted themselves. She was also trying to hide her footsteps, but compared to Kanon and Genji, well, you'd say she was a little more lively. Eventually, they reached the back door, and the three of them entered the mansion. Immediately, they thought they felt something. It wasn't quite a sense of smell, rather they felt it from the depths of their noses. And this hard-to-describe sensation, sensation, which you might call a sixth sense, allowed them to perceive that something was different than usual.
源氏様
急ぐぞ。
That perception caused them to feel that something tense was closing in on them. Realizing that, the three of them dashed up the stairs, aiming for Kinzo's study, still hiding their footsteps. When they dashed up the stairs, the smell of a sweet poison peculiar to Kinzo's study reached their noses.
いかがなさいましたか源氏様
結界が死んでいる
Uh-oh. I was about to say, like... I know they say, like, you get the smell, but is it, like, too strong? Like someone's been opening the door, letting it out? After hearing Kanon, she looked at the door to the study. Scorpion pattern was engraved on the doorknob. A powerful magic repellent. The final barrier, which protected Kinzo himself. It had been broken. Of course, there's no change to the doorknob that the eye could see. However, they who could understand things that people couldn't perceive were able to recognize the dramatic change.
親方様、親方様、源氏でございます。ここをお開けください。
Genji called in this way after knocking several times, but there was no answer from the study.
シャノン、背中を守れ。カノン、室内を探れ。
はい
Stack up. Kenna put his ear against the door, searching for a presence inside the study. To protect the backs of the other two, who were watching the door, Shannon faced the other way, with her back to them, preparing for the unexpected.
親方様はいらっしゃられるはずですですが静かすぎます
ご無事だということか。
いいえ静か ぎます。
まさかそんな。
親方様、扉を失礼させていただきます。
Genji pulled a gold key out from his pocket. It was the only key to the study that existed, other than the one Kinzo held. He stuck it in the keyhole and turned it heavily. At a glance, that would have indicated that it really was a strong lock. However, the fact that the barrier had been destroyed meant that this door had been wide open long before had been wide open for anyone with magical power. The lock made a heavy sound, indicating that the door had been opened to humans as well.
失礼いたします。
Okay, now everybody can get in. As Genji respectively bowed his head, and Cannon's sense of tension grew tighter, and Shannon acted nervous, they entered the study. They immediately discovered Kinzo's figure. He was sitting in the reception sofa, so that his back faced them. Genji noticed the person sitting across from him, and again bowed deeply. Cannon also noticed that person, and he didn't bow his head. He went in front of Shannon and spread both arms, blocking the way to her. Who would he feel protective of Shannon about? I wonder who's been trying to get at them. So without even seeing the person's face, Shannon already had a good idea who it was.
お越しでございましたか、ベアトリーチェ様。
源氏か、なかなかに早いな。やはり家具は主の呼びかけに素早く答える方が良い。こやつとは大違いだ。
There's several people in this room. Who you're referring to?
ロノエ様もお越しでしたね。
Oh, you're all acquainted. How lovely. Genji directed his greetings towards the thin darkness behind and to the right of Beatrice, where nothing appeared to be. Even Cannon and Shannon couldn't have imagined that someone would be there. However, the darkness answered immediately and praised Genji's eyesight. Damn, dude rolled fucking good on perception. Just give me a sec when I get some more tea. Oh, oh no, I spilled a little. I don't even have anything to wipe it up. Well, I guess I'll just soak into my mouse pad. I have one of those, like, desk-sized mouse pads where, like, it's probably, like, 3.5 feet by, like, actually, yeah, probably, like, 3.5 by, like, 3 feet. So it's a good-sized one, but I need to wash it, man. It's getting grimy from doing shit like that and just, like, having my hands on it so much, just, like, dead skin everywhere. It's like baked into it. It doesn't help that it's black, so you can really see it. It's kind of grody. I need to clean it. I know that makes it sound bad, but it's not really that bad. It's just personal preference.
だいぶの久しぶりになりますね。それにしても老けましたね。それだけの弱いを重ねましたか。充実した日々を過ごしております。ロノエ様におかれましても、ますます充実されておりますようお見受けいたします。ええ、おかげさまです。そしてシャノンも久しぶりですね。
Oh, you're all acquainted.
君は随分と美しくなった。そして随分と強くなったようですね。良いことです。
ありがとうございます。
姉さん、あいつは一体。
カノン君とは会うのは初めてになりますね。私はベアトリーチェ様の家具頭を任されております。
はい。
源氏さんの古い馴染みですよ。あなたと同じに私も家具です。
Yeah, so let's get along, huh?
使える主は異なります。
Workers of the world unite. The color of tension didn't disappear from Cannon's expression in the slightest. Serving under a different master, furniture could become kind, brutal, or anything else as desired. If he called himself furniture serving the hated Beatrice, And surely he was a despicable being as well.
わらわもすっかり嫌われたものだ。坊主憎ければ今朝までなんとかとは。
Beatrice openly sneered at Cannon's hate-filled face. Then, Cannon finally observed. Beatrice and Kinzo were enjoying a chess game, sitting in facing reception sofas. Okay. My brain didn't understand reception for a moment. I'm like, they're sitting at what? But Kinzo hadn't even quivered. He was holding his head with both hands, his eyes closed tight, as he contemplated his next move. No, was he in anguish?
親方様。
わらわが金蔵に伝えたのは2つ。良い知らせと悪い知らせだった。
Oh, which one do you start with?
良い知らせは、儀式を終えずしてわらわと再会できる幸運を得たこと。
Oh, how nice. Good for him.
悪い知らせは、金蔵が儀式の一番最初の生贄に選ばれてしまった
Oh,
こと
well,
だ。
that's very unfortunate for him. So you giving him the pity game of chess?
こればかりはわらわにもどうしようもない。実に気まぐれにルーレットにて決めたのだから。
嘘をつけ。もてあそんで殺しているくせに。
I mean, you're not wrong, but...
よしてカノン君。
さて金蔵、そろそろ負けを認める気になったのかこれにてわらわとの長きにわたる勝負は決着だな。
At a glance, you couldn't tell the current situation on that chaotic chessboard. However, judging from Kinzo's anguish and Beatrice's malicious readiness, it looked as though it was already decided.
是非もなし。これもまた一興か。
わらわもだ。そなたとの勝負に決着がつくことは万感の思いあれど、もはや恩衆を超える。楽しかったぞ。退屈しない数十年であった。
Beatrice advanced her queen and made her final move. It was thus decided.
チェックメイト。これがわらわからそなたへの手向けだ。心置きなく眠れ。
Well, at least he's enjoying himself. Kinzo suddenly stood up and laughed, like an opera singer facing a full crowd and spreading his arms, as though he had succeeded in a century-long plan. Oh my god! That laugh spat crimson. Crimson flames poured out from inside him, spitting even out of his mouth, ears, and nose, all at once. His body was wrapped in hellfire. But Kinzo kept laughing. The more he laughed, the more the hellfire spewed from his entire body and began to char him. Those flames became a brilliant light, which dazzlingly shone on the various magical tools throughout the room and made their distorted shadows dance across the walls. Those shadows looked like the dead in hell, in ecstasy over Kinzo as he burned. And, for one who had made a contract with a witch, and who had reached the end of that contract, it was an extremely fitting end. And laughing and howling in the roaring flames for some time, Kinzo flopped to the ground, as though he was a puppet whose strings had been cut. Those incredible blazing flames disappeared as though they had burned up everything there was to burn. And afterwards, all that was left was a festering and burnt body that would make you want to avert your eyes.
むごい。
お前が言うか。ふさわしい死に方だと思っているくせに。
なぜお前が姿を現している？
Oh, because the game's afoot. Or do you mean like why she's like showing up in person to do the killings?
僕たちに何か用だとでも言うのか？
よしてカノン君。ベアトリーチェ様を挑発してはダメ。
すっかり怯えさせてしまいましたね。
Oh, yeah, that was kind of fucked up. Is Kinzo dead? It was a different sound effect than normally when people die. Yeah.
わらわはつくづくカノンとは仲良く
It
な
was
れ
just
ぬ
the
よ
sound of
う
his
だ。
burnt body hitting the ground instead of like the one, like the door squeak.
そう嫌いでもないというのにな。
Do you like him, or do you just like fucking with him? Beatrice smiled broadly, or perhaps wickedly. Cannon violently averted his gaze, obviously disturbed. His reaction was so different from what he had obviously intended that it made the witch and her butler laugh.
カノン、ベアトリーチェ様の御前であるぞ。言葉遣いに
Yeah,
気
quit
をつ
being
けなさ
rude.
い。
ああ、構わぬぞ源氏。好きに言わせてやれ。わらわは寛大である。
何が寛大だ。
わらわは死にゆく者にはいつだって寛大である。
Yeah, look, she even let fucking Kinzo play one last game of chess. Cannon was brought to sudden realization by that creepy laughter. Beatrice's reason for being here was not just to take Kinzo's life. First Twilight required 6 sacrifices. Kinzo alone wasn't nearly enough. And they had just nonchalantly come to this place.
安心せよカノン。そなたらがここに訪れたから生贄に選ばれるのでは
Oh,
ない。
lovely.
生贄に選ばれているからこそここに呼ばれているんじゃないか。
なんだと。
Yeah, it's the other way around. They instinctively figured it out immediately. 6 sacrifices were required for the first Twilight. After Kinzo, how many more would you need to add up to 6? 5? This mansion, the number 5 instantly made me think of the number of servants here.
それがお望みですか。
It doesn't matter what she wants, it's the roulette dog.
感謝せよ家具どもよ。そなたたちの苦難の日々は今宵ようやく終わりを迎え
I mean, Genji doesn't really seem like he had many complaints.
た。それを告げに訪れたわらわに感謝せよ。
かしこまりました。それをお望みでしたら。
源氏様。
Hey man, it is what it is. Genji had agreed to the witch's heartless announcement in his usual manner, without raising an eyebrow.
親方様亡き後はベアトリーチェ様が我らの主。その求めに応じるのが我らの最後の務め。シャノン、カノン、今日までよく仕えた。その労苦もこれにて終
Might
わ
as well get comfy.
り。源氏はさすがですね。同じ家具としてあなたを誇りに思いますよ。シャノン、異論はないか。
はい。
ジョージ様から指輪を贈られたそう。
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
それでもなお未練はないか。
はい。家具の身に過ぎた幸福でした。指輪を頂戴しただけで私の思いはすでに達せられております。
Shannon had not yet reached as high as a philosophical state of mind as Genji. There probably really were regrets left in her heart. She probably wanted to spend a little more warm time with the person of her thoughts, George. But she released herself from that. She took a single deep breath, and from that point on, the expression she wore was blank.
それでよい。シャノンがそこまでの落ち着きを得るとは少し驚き
What, were
でし
you
た。
hoping for more of a show?
あなたも家具として達観したようですね。
惚れた男と夜も共にできず少しは悔し涙をこぼさんのか。退屈な女よ。
ベアトリーチェ様ごときにこの気持ちはわかりません。私たちの命をご所望でしたらどうぞお受け取りください。私たちは慎んでそのお務めを全うします。
それでよくぞ言ったな。
Hey, Cannon, what about you? You seem like you're pretty against all this.
ベアトリーチェ様の苦手なタイプのようで。
最近こやつめはだいぶ達観しよった。どうも前回いじめすぎたようだ。
You know, built too much of a thick skin. Now you can't even get to her at all.
バトラもか。わらわはまだぬるいのか？それとも追い詰め方が下手なのか？
Yeah.
いずれにせよ面白みの
You,
ない。
you lack subtlety.
しかしお前はまだわらわを楽しませてくれそうだよ
So,
な。
Cannon, how are you gonna rail against your fate?
カノン。
カノン君。
Caved to peer pressure. Compared to the two who had attained a philosophical state of mind, there was a painful anguish on Cannon's face. Cannon was still far too young to accept his demise without regrets. After being told of it by a suddenly appearing witch.
わらわは退屈を何より嫌う。そしてお前を除く二人が素直に死を受け入れるもので面白くない。だからそなたにはわらわの期待を裏切らないでもらいたいものだ。
僕を慰み者にしようという。
Yes. Cannon realized that he was being provoked. However, no matter how much anger spurred him on, his opponent was a witch. He was furniture. He had no chance of victory from the beginning. But the witch was expecting that he would struggle in vain and writhe around, and was looking forward to it. Just thinking about that was frustrating enough to get his blood boiling. It was disappointing the witch by refusing to resist, like the other two, the only way he could strike back at her.
煉獄の七姉妹が長女ルシファー、いでよ。
So,
傲慢のルシファー、ここに。
カノン、家具に魔女と戦えというのも酷な話よ。
okay, you gonna make it a one-on-one?
そなたがいくら怒りに駆られようとも、勝算のない戦いでは希望も持てまい。
Kind of work out some of that frustration, your teenage angst.
無論、勝ち目のない戦いでは、わらわも退屈というもの。ならば、家具は家具。家具同士で決着をつけてはどうか。それならば、勝てる希望も持てるであろう。
恐れながらベアトリーチェ様。
Yeah, I still think he's still a rung underneath her, so...
私がそのような出来損ないの家具に劣るようなことがありましょうか？こんな可愛い子に私が万一にも負けるようなこと
Yeah,
な
and
ら。
stranger things have happened. Is that sound effect outside? Or in the game? I can't tell. It's also still kind of windy here, so branches are like hitting the side of my house.
我が家具、煉獄の七杭を打ち破ってみせよ。見事打ち破ってみせたなら、そうだな。13人の生贄を逃れることのできる5人を、
Oh boy!
そなたに自由に決めさせてやろう。そなたの推薦する5人を、わらわは無条件にて黄金鏡に迎え入れる。
I don't know, man, that's kind of a tough one.
それならばどうか。
Fucking trolley problem. Cannon understood that he was being provoked. However, the witch's condition was very tempting. The evil ritual the witch and the rest were trying to carry out was, at this point, not something that Cannon cared about in the slightest. On the contrary, it was much more important for him to survive, be invited to the Golden Land, and have his wish granted by Beatrice there.
そなたは家具は嫌だと泣いたな。そなたの望み叶えてやろうぞ。枕を濡らしてまで望んだ人間の体を与えてやろうぞ。どうだ？そうすればジェシカとも結ばれるぞ。
Oh.
おお、ちょうどよい。
Yeah, see, me and Beatrice are on the same fucking wavelength.
黄金鏡へ招ける5人にジェシカとそなたを推薦すればよい。自分だけが幸せになることに抵抗があるならば。さらに シャノンとその思い人であるジョージを加えればよい。
And just one more.
義理があるならばさらに源氏も加えればよい。おお、これで5人だ。
I mean, I'm not really sure Genji would, like, really care either way.
十分ではないか。これだけのご褒美があれば。そなたはわらわを退屈させはしないよな。
どうせ戯れよ。
I mean, yeah, but
耳を貸す必要はない。
僕は嫌だ。
yeah, you think that's gonna fucking work on canon? Trying to
姉
tell
さ
him
ん
to
は
be
それで
reasonable?
いいの？
Beatrice couldn't hide her evil smile at those words.
僕は嫌だ。幸せになりたい。家具なんてもう嫌だ。
You fucking bit the bait right on the hook, my guy.
人間になって普通の恋がしたい。
Fucking gutted that thing, hook, line, sinker.
僕も姉さんのように海が青いってことを知りたいんだ。
若いですね。羨ましい。
だから若者は好
It's
きなの。
nice to be able to dream, ain't it, Ronabe?
源氏、シャノンは下がれ。カノン、ルシファーは前へ。
仰せのままに。気に入らないわ。ベアトリーチェ様は無理でも。
I mean, yeah, but, you know, some fights you gotta fight regardless.
私にだったら勝てるかもしれないという見下しが最高に気に入らないわ。
That was probably humiliating to Lucifer. But at the same time, she was also happy that she was so lucky to have this lovely prey all to herself.
魔女の家具、いつまでも僕を見くびることができると思うな。
Just jumping around the room. We get our big action scene this time? Yeah, there we go. So to say, we're not just gonna fade to black, are we? Well, as they're shooting light blades at each other, I'll pour another cup of
さ
tea.
あさバトラー。
Ooh, it's like starting to oxidate. It's turning a very, very brownish color for green tea. Oh, I guess that's to be expected. You know, it's almost like it's turning more green now.
楽しい見せ物の時間であるぞ。
Who you betting on, Battler?
またおかしなことになりやがった。
A thousand on cannon. If you lose, then well, it's off to the salt mines.
魔法バトルなんて認めてたまるかよ。
ほらほら、目をつむらずにちゃんと見ろよ。ほらほら、ほらほら。
Just special effects.
魔法だよ、家具だよ。そなたがどんなにわらわや魔法の存在を否定しようとも、ほらほら、ほらほらほらほら。こうして目の前でブオンブオンカキンカ
Yeah,
キン
give
やられ
us
ち
all your
ゃ
automatopoeias.
台無しだよな。ほらほらほらほら。
Tell me, man,
もう
just
思考なんて
CGI.
止めちまえよ。魔法はあるん
Smoke and
だ
mirrors.
って。これはファンタジーなんだって。目を閉じるなよ。しっかり見ろよ。ほらほらほらほらほら。
畜生畜生畜生畜生。魔女を認めない、魔法を認めない。でもこんなにあからさまにやられちまったらなんだっていやいいんだ。
Yeah, kind of in a pickle, huh?
クソクソクソクソ。
ほら目を背けるなよ。しっかり見ろよ。
Yeah, I guess he wins.
魔法はあるんだよ。ファンタジーなんだよ。推理ごっことかやめちまえよ。知ってんだよ。ものを考えんの本当は苦手なんだろう。
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty dumb.
やめちまえやめちまえ
My brain's got holes in it, so you know, thoughts just like slip on through like a sieve.
ほらほらどうせファンタジーどうせファンタジー
Yeah, yeah, fucking yuck it up.
うるせえうるせえうるせえ俺に話しかけるんじゃね
Yep, just go sulk.
こいつ意地になっちゃって私になら勝てるなんて思い上がりをしたことを今すぐ床に這いつくばって謝ってごらんなさいそうしたら特別に許してあげてもいいわよ
Big talk for someone who hasn't won yet.
生きながら生皮を剥がして絶命するまで全身を鞭打ってのたうち回らすのを特別に許してあげて
Yeah,
も
man,
いいわ
don't
よ
threaten me with a good time.
可愛い子なんだから謝っちゃいなさいよそうしたらあなただけは最高に素敵な気分の中で優しく優しく行かせてあげる
黙れ魔女の家具お前と問答するつもりはない
Well, you're speaking to me right now.
私なんか眼中にないというのね気に入らないわ本当に気に入らないわはあ
Yep. Just give us the light show.
カノン君
はやつサタンの時よりも筋がいいではないか
だから人間は恐ろしいのです。たまに魔女にまでなり悪魔を羊扱いにしたりいたしますよ。
The infinite potential of humanity.
わらわはどちらを応援すればよいというのか
I don't know. Ken has put on a good show, so give him, you know, a little clap, a little golf clap.
こいつ私と互角に渡り合うというの
僕を見くびるなお前にそのおごりがある限り僕には決して勝てない
私がこの煉獄の七姉妹が長女ルシファーを指して決して勝てないとこんな
Hell yeah, never underestimate a man with no pride whatsoever. He'll fucking crawl through the mud and on the ground and do whatever it takes to win. Smell you later, dork. Kenan was desperately trying to stay alive, and he had a strong desire to become human. But Lucifer didn't feel anything stronger than a slight desire to play. So, that reached its inevitable result. For the ability to yield such a result is the power of humans. The power of the heart.
これまでだお前は僕に
Aw, come
決
on.
して勝てない
Don't do like your hero monologue. Just fucking stab her. There we go. Glowing red trail extended slightly out from Kenan's arm, pointing at Lucifer's throat, just beneath the tip of her chin.
何よこれこの私がこんなの
As she ground her teeth in irritation, she tries to deny the reality right before her eyes. Also, don't grind your teeth. It's like really bad for the enamel, and you'll need to get like a night retainer. But no matter how much she believed in her own superiority, it didn't change the facts right before her eyes.
ほうやるなあカノン見事だわらわを退屈させなかった
Good show, old chap.
それに比べわらわの家具のなんと情けないことか
ルシファー、お嬢様を退屈させていますよ。やはりあなたには荷が勝ちすぎた相手でしたか。
失望するぞ七食いの長女
How embarrassing. Go run back to the fucking, like, DM dimension and go fucking beat up on Battler for a little bit to make yourself feel better. That would have seemed like nothing more than a simple rebuke to an outsider. However, furniture serving the witch knew what kind of severe treatment was promised by that rebuke, and understood what had been left unsaid. She howled. Abandoning her last bit of pride, she made her body explode, exposing her true form. The form was a demon stake that bounced around and deflected off the walls all over the room. Alright, she's lost her cool. Her guard's down. Strike! I mean, he doesn't need to follow your movements if he's able to predict what you're gonna do because you're fucking so seeing so much red you can't even see straight. Oh, the sound effect's so weird. With his speed exceeding the limits that the human eye could follow, Lucifer went wild and flew at Cannon's heart. Lucifer confirmed that the sweet taste she could feel was definitely Cannon's blood. But she quickly noticed she hadn't pierced Cannon's heart.
これだから人間は恐ろしい。紅茶はいかがですかな。
今はよい。紅茶もいら
Well,
ぬほどに面
you
白い。
want to watch it a little more?
カノ君。
You managed to, slide off to the side so it wasn't a direct hit.
おごったな。だからお前は僕に勝てないんだ。
The floor was stained with dripping blood. It really was Cannon's blood, but it wasn't flowing out of his chest. Cannon had sacrificed his own left hand to protect his heart. Gotcha, bitch! Lucifer was arrogant, even though she had been given enough time to realize that this was an opponent capable of cornering her. Even so, in her pride, she had believed that he was a worthless opponent. She had gotten careless. So just as she had announced, she had aimed for his chest, trying to pierce his heart. Because she was arrogant, she hadn't even thought of aiming for somewhere other than the place she had announced. Oh, maybe she had thought about it a little. However, her pride would not have allowed her to aim for a different spot, because she was Lucifer the Proud. Cannon, withstanding the pain, grasped the demon stake stuck deep into his left hand strongly with his right, and pulled it out. The sound of breaking bones and even more blood dripping down could be heard. Shannon instinctively averted her eyes. There's probably an air hole in the back of the pierced hand so big that you could see clearly through to the other side. Owie! Well, that's the nice thing with, like, snapped tendons. Even if they're, like, fucked up, if the doctor can just, like, take a tendon from, like, a dead guy and just staple them onto yours, and it's fine. That works. It'll be a little weaker than it was before, but it'll hold. It's grody. They actually do that. Cannon's face was filled with agony. In this very moment, he had won without a doubt. The demon stake he was grasping with his right hand turned back into Lucifer again. Cannon was now gripping exactly where her neck was.
僕の勝ちだ。ベアトリーチェ。
She's kind of cute when she's crying. Cannon didn't hold back at all with his hand gripping Lucifer's throat. She had challenged him again after their fight that had already been decided. Cannon had no obligation to be considerate. But even so, Cannon released the witch's furniture. Was it his naive humanism? His pity for another piece of furniture? Or a final show of respect to the witch? In any case, when she was released, Lucifer fell face down on the ground and made as if to vomit, moaning over the pain in her throat.
お見事ですよ、カノン。あなたの奮闘により、金蔵の研究の正しさが一つ実証されました。
Renove was clapping his hands. To Cannon, who had achieved a difficult victory, incurring a wound on his left hand that couldn't be closed, that applause seemed nothing but shallow.
人の心はあらゆる可能性を秘める。
Power of love conquers all!
いやはやこれだから人間は恐ろしい。あっぱれであるぞカノン。そなたは勝利した。見事だ。
So who are your 5 that you're gonna pick?
大丈夫カノン君。
Shannon ran up to him and wrapped a handkerchief around his left hand, which was still spraying blood.
見事であるぞカノン。
I don't think there's any, like, veins or arteries in the hand that would be strong enough to, like, spray blood. But if there's, like, a gaping hole, it would definitely, like, pulse out with your heartbeat. But not, like, psst, like arterial spray. It would just kind of ooze.
実に見事である。わらわも少しは番狂わせを期
Well,
待
I guess
した。
not quite ooze, drip at a pretty good rate.
それを裏切らぬとは。そなたは誠に素晴らしき家具であるぞ。見直した。正直見直したぞ。
いや、約束を忘れてはいないだろうな、ベアトリーチェ。
Well, you know, promises and magic, powerful things. She can't go back on her word now.
もちろん忘れてはおらぬぞ。魔女も悪魔も非道ではある。だがしかし、契約に限っては、人間など及ばぬほどに高潔だ。わらわは保護にはせぬ。そなたが勝利したなら、13人の生贄を逃れることができる5人を自由に決める権利を保証した。
ベアトリーチェ様、私はまだ敗れたわけでは。
It's over. Beatrice twirled her pipe, and heaven and earth turned over just for Lucifer. I go stand on the ceiling. So as a horrible natural result, she fell onto the ceiling. The ceiling doesn't seem high to people standing on the floor. That seems like a pretty ornate room, so it's probably got a little bit of a vaulted ceiling. However, people who've fallen upside down and head first surely don't feel the same way.
お嬢様、さすがにやりすぎで。
I mean, even just like tripping and hitting the floor, you know, if you're a normal sized person, it's like, oh! So when you like fly through the air for like even a couple feet, it fucking hurts. That's how I fucking put myself out of commission snowboarding a couple years ago. It was the last run of the day, and I was just going down, like, do. I was approaching a jump. I'm like, I don't want to go off. You know, I'm just taking a leisurely fucking trip down the hill. But I'm still going pretty quick, because it was a pretty steep one. But again, it's the last run of the day. The slopes are wrecked from everyone else. The tip of my board hits a divot in the ground, and I start tumbling. And of course, I was just starting to turn out of the way of that jump, so the jump's directly in front of me. So off I go, fucking tumbling down the hill at like 20 miles an hour. Hit the jump, go flying off the side and like starfish through the air for like 15 feet. And then slam down on the ground, like shoulder first with my arm behind my back. And then I proceed to tumble for like another 30 feet. That was a bad day. I legitimately thought I had broken my arm in like several places. After I was like done fucking starfishing through the air and like eating shit and was just stuck on the ground, I just lied there for like 3 minutes straight, just breathing, trying to catch my breath. And then just like took my one good arm, my fucking right hand, and I'm like, okay. Let's see what's broken, and fucking just slammed it onto like my like bicep where it felt like I was really fucked up, and I hit it, and there was like no shooting pain. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like shoulder, good, and elbow, and just the rest of it. It fucking hurt like a bitch when I stood up. I definitely like tore a muscle, and like pulled a bunch of shit, but nothing broke. But man, did it fucking hurt.
それもそうであるな。 許してやるか。
Beatrice spun her pipe again. To the floor you go! Once she did, the magic that had been affecting Lucifer was released. So, as in a horribly natural result, this time, with extreme legitimacy, she fell back onto the floor. Oh, this is like fucking tile.
何を怯えておるか。わらはもはや許したぞ。
Was Lucifer the one who, like, it said that she wanted to be dominated, or was that Satan? However, she carries herself with pride with everything. She claims to be the strongest sister, but secretly is aware that she's the least talented. No, okay. So she's actually the weakest, even though she's like as the highest position.
続けようではないか。
何をだ。まさか彼女にとどめを刺せとでも言うつもりなのか。
ああ、
you gotta finish what you started.
違う違う。まだ終わっちゃいないだろうが。
何をだ。はぐらかすな。
わらわは確かにそなたと約束したぞ。わらわの家具、煉獄の七杭を打ち破ったならとな。
Oh, what, you gotta fight them all?
さあさあおいでなさい、煉獄の七杭。
Oh, that's not fair.
不甲斐なき長女の6人の妹たち。
With shrill laughing voices, the air split, and gold sprayed everywhere as the remaining 6 of the 7 stakes of Purgatory showed themselves. All the 7 sisters of Purgatory, only one of which Cannon had been able to defeat by sacrificing his left arm, were gathered. By now, Cannon regretted his thoughtlessness in accepting the witch's challenge. Yeah, what, you expected a witch to play fair? He had been foolish to assume that a game with a witch would be on an even footing.
お姉様、どうして床に這いつくばってるの？お前たちだからお姉様はダメなのよ。長女を偉そうに名乗るくせに上っ面だけなのよ。まったくルシファーお姉様一人の集会が私たちへの評価を下げるのよ。
I'm pretty sure you guys do enough that yourself.
恥を知りなさいな、この未熟者が。
カロンくん、すごいすごい。でもいい気にならないことよ。ルシファーお姉様なんて威張ってるだけで姉妹の子じゃ大したことないんだから。
Time to get riggedy riggedy
何
wrecked.
もしなくていいといつも言っている。お姉様は威張ってだけいればいい。荒事はすべ
Yeah,
て
just don't
優
try
秀
to
な
actually put your
私
money
たち
where
で
your mouth
片
is.
付けるのだから。
お姉様、どうする？私たちはお姉様のプライドを尊重して、そのボロボロの体で再び挑むのを期待して手出しをしないつもりなんだけれど。でもカノン君は強いわよね。今のお姉様じゃもうどうあがいても勝ち目はないわよね。
Damn, you fucking all just kicking her when she's down, huh? I mean, I have no sympathy for her, but
たち
you know, she made this bed. She's got to fucking sleep in it now.
やれやれ、いつも賑やかな姉妹たちであるな。今は仲違いをしている場合か。そなたらは7人揃ってこその煉獄の7姉妹であろうが、仲良くしてわらわの仕
Yep,
事
do
を
your
遂
fucking
行せ
team
よ。
up attack.
迅速にな。
ルシファーお姉様、私たち妹の力が借りたいなら言ってよ。お姉様の口から助けを求める言葉が聞きたいの。私
Yes.
はこれ以
Oh,
上
they're having a fucking grand old time. Oh wow, this tea's gotten dark. Even more than before.
愚かでひ弱で見苦しくて情けないこの長女のルシファーをどうか妹の皆様お助けくださいねえ聞かせてよそれを聞かせてくれたら助けてあげる
Verbatim, of course.
それでいいわよねみんなお前たちおのれ
The Seven Sisters of Purgatory taunted their elder sister, calling her worthless, verbally abusing her. Even Cannon, who had been fighting her for his life until a second ago, couldn't bear to look straight at it.
私がそのようなことを口にできるものかよ早くせよ
Yep.
どうせお前
Let's get the
一
show
人
on
で
the
は
road.
拉致が
Chop
開
chop.
かぬわ早く七姉妹にてカノンを撃て
Hey, your boss is telling you to just say it and get it over with.
そらどうしましたかルシファーお嬢様の命令ですよ
ひどい
Lucifer ground her teeth over and over, hurling curses at her sisters, and then, as she trembled all over, she answered her sister's request.
愚かでひ弱で見苦しくて情けない情けないこの長女ルシファーをどうか
Come on, you're almost there. No. Don't show them tears. They're just gonna love it even more. She was finally unable to endure saying those degrading words, and the girl bearing the name of Pride broke down crying. However, the 6 younger sisters kept giggling cold-heartedly. Yeah, they're not gonna let you live this down for a long while.
ちょっと泣いてごまかさないでまだいいっつってない
もう十分だろう。さあ姉妹たち、我らの力を見せてやろう。
私は全部聞かなきゃ満足しないわよほらほらお姉様続けてよ
She can finish saying it afterwards. Now we're on the clock here.
もう十分よさあこの屈辱は姉妹全員の屈辱生かして返しはしないわよさて哀れな家具をどのように遊んでやろうかしら素敵な提案はあるベルゼは仲良く7
God,
人で
speaking of
カ
third
ノン
person.
君を分けっこしたらいいと思います
良い提案だな。それでなら姉妹でみんな仲良し
なら私
Yeah, sharing's the best.
手足はあんたらにあげるわ
やだやだダメ私が頭なのそんな約束意味があるわけないでしょ早い者勝ちに決まってる
Yep,
わ
first come, first serve.
どんな殺され方がいいかカノン君に提案があったら教えてね7姉妹でとびっきりの殺し方をしてあげる
How about you can kill him after a long, filling life? When he's an old man resting in his bed.
ここまで恥をかかせたんだもの八つ咲きでも足りない百咲きにしてくれる行くよお前たち
Ugh. The 7 of them burst at once. They had no desire to play or boast. This time, they would genuinely follow their master's order. Slay cannon, swiftly. And not much you can do about this one, bud. 7 sisters jumped around the room faster than the eye could see, deciding how they would kill Cannon. They tortured Cannon with their cruel giggles, sometimes making a close pass at him. They kept scraping his arms, shoulders, and cheeks, carving red lines into his body. At that time, Shannon dashed up behind him, holding onto him so that she blocked the way to his body at least a little. the same time, a red cylinder wrapped around the two of them like a beam of light sent from heaven. That cylinder repelled the evil ones who tormented Cannon.
何？ずるい！あんたは関係ないでしょ？きっとこれはあれよ。私たちと一緒に遊びたいのよ。なら私がもらうわ。
Well, you know, she was on the fucking chopping block anyway, so...
ベアトリーチェ様、シャノンを私たちの獲物にしても？ああ、構わんぞ、好きにしろ。お前たちの悪時期には、カノン一人では足らなかろうしな。
ありがたき幸せ。さあ、シャシャリ出てきたことを後悔させてやろう。
どっちがどっちかわからないくらいの肉片にして混ぜて混ぜてミンチにしてハンバーグにしてあげる。
バカね。それよりあの結界を破る
Yeah,
方
you
が
know,
先でしょう
you
が。
gotta do step 1 before you can
クイ
do
ズよ
step
り
2.
先に仕事しなさい。
はい、お姉さん。
As a horribly natural first action, the Seven Sisters began to destroy the barrier Shannon had created. Shannon's barrier certainly was extremely strong. It was enough power to impress even Beatrice. It was strong enough that frail furniture would turn to dust just by touching it. And it was firm, like a tree with deep roots. But no matter how big a tree gets, it will eventually surrender to a saw or a hatchet. For the Seven Sisters, chopping down Shannon's barrier, while it was a pain, was not impossible. The sound, like beetles jumping around, grew even more fierce and filled the room. They cut up and steadily eroded away that red barrier, as though with a hatchet, a saw, no, a chainsaw by now.
愚かな。君の結界ではその子たちを防ぎきれないことは知っていたでしょうに。なぜ？
見過ごせないからです。
Shannon spoke back resolutely as she covered Cannon, who was already spent of all his energy and sprawled out on the floor.
シャシャリでなければ眠るような死を与えてやったのに、なぜわざわざ七姉妹の前に身をさらすのか。死は同じではないぞ。苛烈な死は、死してなお苛むぞ。
どうぞお好きなように。あなたがしたいことを好きにするように。
Good hero line, it's not gonna save you from getting killed.
どうにもそなたはこのところ面白みに欠けるな。恋というやつは達するかどうかのあたりが一番面白い。達してしまった後の女はさながら産卵を終えた鮭のごとし
That's only Pacific salmon. Atlantic salmon don't die after spawning.
そなたにはもう飽きた。
ありがとう。魔女から聞ける言葉で最も嬉しい言葉です。
ならせめて最後にわらは思いっきり喜ばせる死に方をしてみせろよ。
Damn, now I want some
七
salmon.
姉妹を聞こえたな。シャノンの殺し方、お前たちの残虐の限りを見せ
Unfortunately,
て
there's
み
like
よ。
no good lakes to fish around here because they live in a fucking swamp.
申し訳ございません。やはり私には
Like at best,
レ
there's
ンジ様の
briny
高めには
marshes.
至れませんでした。
Like if I want to catch some fucking mudfish.
姉さんはバカだ。僕なんか放っておけば姉さんまでひどい目に遭うことは。
ううんいいの。ジョージ様に指輪をもらって女として生きられた。あなたをかばって姉として生きられた。私の生はすべてこれで未練なく全うした。
Checked off all the boxes. Even if they were brief.
イライラするぜ。
Yeah, how dare you be so okay with all this?
その達観が本当にイラつくぜ。だから家具なんだよ。お前からは人間の匂いがしねえんだよ。 わらわを見ろよ。わらわこそ人間だろうが。家具のくせにわらわよりも完成されたかのような、達観したかのようなことを言うんじゃねえ。
Feeling a little self-conscious about someone actually having all their shit together?
醜い。その未練があなたの正体なの。
未練じゃ
I mean,
ねえ。
yeah.
それが生きるってもんだ。
You're a real pitiful person,
指
Beatrice.
輪もらったから死んでもいいとか。理解できねえ。さっぱりがっかり愕然呆然。全然ダメだぜ。
お嬢様、少し品がないか。
Yeah, you're fucking losing it.
うるさいわ家具が。シャノン、楽に死なせてもらえると思うなよ。舌を噛むなら
Well,
今のう
I
ち
don't
だ。
think that was ever in the cards.
哀れね。もしも私の目にあなたのその姿が映ってそれが見えるなら、己が醜さにおののくといい。
Fucking owned.
安心しろよ。てめえはそれよりさらにめちゃくちゃぐちゃぐちゃに生きながら醜く潰してやるからよ。
At the time, Genji softly entered the red barrier. Maybe the barrier didn't block those without ill intent. Then, Genji softly held Shannon from behind and covered her eyes with his right hand.
源氏様。
Words. I'm mixing them all up everywhere.
はい。ありがとうございます。源氏様。
After that, Genji softly pressed his left hand against the area around her collarbone. As he did, from the area where that left hand pressed, crimson stain gently spread out. This kills the Shannon. When Genji removed his hand, a bright red, fresh blood oozed... What? Bright red, fresh blood oozed out of there. For just the very first instant, it appeared to be shaped like a crimson rose. And when he removed the right hand that covered Shannon's eyes, there was a peaceful expression on her face, as though she was sleeping. And she fell softly, silently down, and slept. Her soul had already been sent to a world where the malicious witch and her furniture could never reach her, no matter how evilly they tortured her. Beatrice and the Seven Sisters were shocked by this scene. Only Ronave had a mysterious expression along with his smile. Then, Genji leaned over Cannon, who was crouching on the floor.
よく頑張った。お前ももう休むといい。
はい、ありがとうございます。源氏様。
Just as he had done with Shannon, he gently covered Cannon's eyes with his hand. Genji gently covered the area around Cannon's collarbone with his other hand. And when that was removed with the lightness of a feather, there was a crimson rose shape. But that rose shape quickly turned to a stain of bright red blood pouring out.
何よそれ。
Stealing your kills.
つまらぬやつ。生命の風船は針にてつき、威勢よく割るから面白いのだろうが。
見事です。
Yeah, he just it's like when you kind of bite a little hole down at the neck of the balloon where the knot is, and you can just kind of let the air out slowly.
それでこそ家具です。
ありがとうございます。それではベアトリーチェ様、ロノウェ様。
Yep, well, it's the two of them done. Now it's my turn, I
これを
guess.
もって私の最後のお務めとし、おいとまをさせていただきます。
わらわの楽しみを勝手に奪いおって、この二人をギッタギタのぐっちゃぐちゃにしたかった分、そなたがそれを変わるのであろうな。
I mean, he is, but it's not like he'll actually do it. Beatrice faced him with an unsatisfied expression, but Ronove spoke quietly to Genji with a soothing smile.
ご苦労でした。あなたは私の最高のしもべです。これまでの労をねぎらうに値する安らかな眠りを、あなたへの最後の褒美として
Hell
取ら
yeah,
せましょう。
class solidarity.
おい、勝手な真似を。
When Ronove snapped his fingers, as if Genji was a puppet that had crumbled from its strings being cut, suddenly, and yet gently, he fell, sprawled out on the floor, into a sleep that witches couldn't call him back from. That was as filled with kindness as the sleep he had given Shannon and Cannon.
なんだよ、ロノウェイ。拍子抜けでつまらぬぞ。
お嬢様は偉大なる大魔女ではございませんか。この程度気に留めるほどにもございませんよ。
Yeah, trivial details, for someone as high and mighty as you, you shouldn't get too bent out of shape about them.
シャノンごときの挑発で頭に血を上らせるなどらしくもない。
As long as you get the same result, does it matter the route you take to get there? What was there that Beatrice didn't like? Was she unable to remove the thorn of Shannon's words? Ronove laughed lightly, as though lamenting the complexity of the human and female heart, and ordered the seven sisters to go. After all, there were still 2 sacrifices left for the first twilight. The 7 sisters cavorted as they disappeared. I've only seen the word cavorted before. Don't ask me what it means, though. Damn, only advanced like 2 minutes. Fuck. But with those wipeouts, that is where we are going to end it here for today. Once again, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring the notification bell. I'll see you all next time for the next episode of Umineko, where apparently Goda is gonna fucking take one for the team. And the way they were making it sound like all the servants, and Kinzo are going to be the ones taking the hit this time, so just leaving the familia around. Ooh, how exciting. But we will reconvene in 2 days for you. Catch you guys all then later. Bye. Unless you're watching this after its air date, in which case they're all compiled already and you're just going to jump right into it. In that case, see you in a little bit. Bye.